Hi, this is Pam, Flower Patch Farmhouse, and today we're in the greenhouse. This is mid-February and we are going to seed some zonal geraniums. Now these are seeds that I got off of my plant, though I have purchased seeds from seed catalogs for zonal geraniums. They're just pretty expensive. You don't get very many seeds for the price you pay. I don't know why that is, but a lot of them are coated. They're pelleted, I guess, so you could see them better. I don't know, but actually I've had better success collecting seeds from my geraniums and then reseeding them later in the season, or planting them, I should say, seeding them. And I'm going to show you how we do that. This works with plants or seeds that you get from, the garden supply catalogs too. So I will show you first. I'm going to show you my seeds. Let me zoom in and let you see what they look like. I'll show you a picture of what they look like on the plant. Hopefully I can find the pictures I took last fall. But then I have a baggie here that I have some of them in. Now it's funny because they have this little corkscrew thing on them. Can you see this? See this part right here is the seed itself, the little corkscrew. I'm not sure. It had a little piece of fluff on them too, and I think that's so they can fly in the wind. But that's the actual seeds, and we will pot them up. I prefer using, let me put you back up here so you can see me. I prefer using planting them in flats, which means not the container, the 6-packs or the smaller containers. I have found I have better success that way. I tested it when I seeded this tray or flat. It's actually an old salad container. And you see all these geraniums here. And I did a 6-pack. And I'll make sure you know what I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure you probably do. But one of these containers that you buy annuals, etc. at the garden center in. And I only had one germinate. Whereas you can see in here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 germinated. True, I planted 6 in there. I probably planted 10 in here. So obviously my success is better in the flats. I have found that year after year with the geraniums. And actually I find that true with many of my seeds. I can't explain why. I have a friend who also starts seeds and she's had the same experience. So I usually try to do it in flats. Like these. This is just recycled containers. This one is like those ones you buy to go, Rubbermaid, etc., Snap and Go or whatever. This one, I usually use them for storing food, and then when they start to break from constant use, which this one has a big crack in the side, then I use them for my planting. Or, as I said before, these salad mix containers, I buy salad mix at Costco and what have you. Those work really great for flats too. So it saves space rather than doing a bunch of individuals like this and then I go ahead and pot them up later. I've not found that moving them from this young stage, potting up into 4-inch pots, actually causes any stunting of growth. Because I've, like I said, done both and they grow better here, they grow healthier, and so when you pot them up, they're just as healthy. That's my personal experience. Others may argue. Now, some plants will tell you, and on the seed packets, it'll say do not plant in flats, but plant in separate containers. Those ones I will, because they tell me to. All right, let me get going. And I just fill this with my seed starting mix. You've seen me mix my own time and time again. And I have some right here. Or I'll just use regular potting soil. If you want to, I don't use seed starting mix. A lot of people say use sterile seed starting mix. I've never had an issue with any problems. But if you're afraid with your potting soil and you prefer it to be sterilized, get a sieve, pour boiling hot water through your potting soil. That sterilizes it. So let me point the camera down and you can see how I put the seeds in here. I always try to give you more of a bird's eye view rather than just looking at me. Okay, so I have these in this baggie. Now these seeds are actually quite old. And I don't clean all the chaff off of them, and I just sprinkle them in there loosely. And I will just sprinkle lightly because they like light to germinate. And I will just loosely put some in there, not very much. And you can also I do have a little vermiculite I can do it with. Some people prefer the vermiculite. It's just so expensive compared. But they say it holds moisture better. So, and it doesn't block the light. You want good contact between your seeds and your soil. So use something, like I use this little pot, and I'll just firm them down with the little pot. Anything flat will do. I've seen on Gardener's World they have these little boards with a little handle, and they smush it with that, and it's about the size of this, and I think that's pretty cool. I need to make myself one of those. But in the meantime, a pot will do. And then I will put this in a tray of water, warm water, and it will absorb up. And then I cover it. I can cover it with plastic wrap, or many times I use the old lids from the Spring Garden Mix. That's the one I like to get. And you put on there. I will put this under lights in my house on a heat mat to germinate. Now, closer to spring, where the temperatures are warmer, I would just do that in here in my greenhouse, and I wouldn't put it out there. I've had great success doing that too. But since this is February, we've got a lot more cold weather coming, I am going to put them in the house. So now I want to pot up my seedlings. These are big enough to pot up, and they, I could leave them in here. I got a good amount of dirt where they could stay in here, but I want to go ahead and pot them up and let them get growing on. So I'm going to go get some of my potting soil, and I will be right back, and we will pot these up. So what I'm doing here is I use this knife a lot because it's a good picker. I ordered a small little trowel that will work in this case, but this works good to prick out, as it's called, the seedlings that I want to get. Now, I'm going to try to keep my hand out of your way, and what I do is I go away from the plant where I think the roots are. I've got a hold of one of the true leaves, not the stem, and I will tease out the roots. I don't want to break them, etc. And if you have a good loose mix that you've started your plants in, that's very important, then they'll pull apart. The roots will release easily and not get stuck where you end up damaging them. So I just put it into this little pot here, set it in there, added a bit more soil, and I'll just firm gently. You don't want to press tight, just enough. Whoops. And avoid getting soil on their leaves. And then I will set this in a pan of water, tray of water, and put them back under the lights in my home. So here we go. Hopefully you can see. I have you pointed right down at my containers. These are the pots, of course, that it's going in. And here's the one we will be teasing the seedlings out of. So I'll show you with this one. I'm going to put my knife down in the soil and pry up. And I actually got two, but because the soil was very loose, these pulled out without even yanking on or tearing any of the roots. And I just put it back down into this pot, firm it down, and then I will add more soil as needed around it. And set aside and repeat. Repeat with the next one. This one got pulled up with that one, but as I said, it didn't tear because the soil was good and loose. This is my mix here that I use, and it's just basically my DIY potting soil with a little added perlite to make it even looser. And one of the reasons also that I like making my own potting soil is I don't use peat moss. Peat moss is a controversial subject, really, but using it has to be mined from or harvested from peat moss fields, peat bogs, and those are carbon sinks. And even though those who harvest it say there's plenty of it, it has been decimated in areas over like in England, etc., and it's detrimental to the environment. Okay, now I'm getting myself in trouble because I'm yip-yapping and I'm not marking which ones I've taken out and the names of them. And I will be mad at myself because this row here was the tornado mix, which is an ivy geranium. This one over here, I think, was the white. And this one here was the salmon. So I need to double check that so I can mark my pots as I pot up my geraniums. So let me get that. And I will mark on the pots. I usually write right on them with a Sharpie, which I have right here. So I know this one I got here and might have been similar. So let me go get that. I'll be right back. Okay, I went and got the lid that I had marked with the names. Now these little ones over here, these little dinky plants, those are Nepeta, catmint, which I'm going to call blue carpet. So you've seen them on different vlogs and garden programs, and there's ones that are hybrids called cat's pajamas and the cat's meow and other things like that. And those are plants you can buy individually, but you're paying between $10 and $18 for a plant. And here I just did a few seeds, not a few, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've only done a portion of the package, which cost me $2. And I have 9 plants already. So that's why I like to grow things that I can from seed, because I can get a whole hedge of the Nepeta I want, or Nepeta, tomato, you know what I mean, instead of buying just one plant. It's just, I'm cheap. Okay, so these ones are the tornado mix, which is the ivy geranium. And this one right here, the two that I had just taken out, are the coral. And then this one over here is Diva Star, which has a white star in the middle. So that's what I'm going to mark on here. I'm going to have to rewatch the video to see where I got this one out of when I first pulled it out, because I don't remember. I've gotten so far along here, but I will mark it then. So for right now, I'm going to mark these right on the pot. And I'm going to write, this is coral. These are real pretty coral. And I have a hard time finding that color in garden centers. I was just at a garden center. You could find red, you can find orange, you can find, I did find white. And, oh yeah, that's the one I don't know what it is yet. So my friends, that is how I start geraniums from seeds and then pot them up once they've gotten their true leaves. But also check out my, did I do a video? I think I did a video and a blog post on taking cuttings, starting geraniums from, or these are pelargoniums really, but zonal geraniums from cuttings, which is really a great way to propagate the ones that you already have. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next video.